So, my dear ones, here we are in our second Sunday of looking at the basic fundamentals of science of mind and the practice of the heart. And those two things always have to go together, the science and the practice, otherwise it doesn't work. And so today on the marquee it says God too. We had God to begin with last week, and now it's God too. So we had the thing itself, spirit itself, and what all of that is, the creator of all and the provider of all of our good and so on. And now we're looking at the way spirit works in God too, the way spirit works. And so the way spirit works is through consciousness, because spirit is consciousness, infinite conscious being. And in order for you and for me to understand consciousness, we have to understand mind, because consciousness uses mind in the way that life is lived. And so looking at this thing called mind today, I know we're all going to have a deeper understanding of how all of that works, so that we can work it wisely and work it well. And so your mind and my mind has two aspects to it. It has a conscious aspect to it, and it has a subconscious aspect to it. Or you could say it has an objective aspect to it, or a subjective aspect to it. Or you could say it has an exterior aspect to it and an interior aspect to it. One mind, but two aspects, two different elements that work together to create the one mind. Now, your mind and my mind, of course, is an illusion, because there is no your mind and my mind and their minds and the mind over there and so on and so forth. There is only the one mind, and it is the infinite divine mind that flows out of the infinite consciousness of spirit. And you and I are in it. We use the one mind. We use it however we use it. We use it positively, we use it negatively. We use this much of it or this much of it. It's up to us, depending upon where we are in consciousness at any given time. And we're all operating at different levels of consciousness. See, we're all the very same, equally in the eyes of our Creator. We're all equal, the very same. We've all been given the very same. We came from the very same. We're made of the very same. However, because of free will and our human tendencies, we're all awake at different degrees. We're all conscious at different degrees. Some of us are very conscious. Some of us are very unconscious. But nevertheless, we are all consciousness. We are either conscious consciousness or unconscious consciousness, but we're always consciousness, operating at whatever level of awareness you and I are entertaining at any given time. So we look at these two aspects of mind, and we see that the conscious aspect of mind impresses, and the subconscious aspect of mind expresses. So one impresses and one expresses. So every thought that you think consciously, if it's a prolonged thought, if it's what we call in psychology a parent thought, a continuous thought, if it's backed up with a great deal of conviction and feeling, that creates an impression in the subconscious element of mind. It's going to sink into the deeper mind, the inner mind, the interior mind, and make an impression upon it. Now, an odd thought here and there won't make any difference. You can have a negative thought here and there, here a negative thought, there a negative thought, over there a negative thought. It doesn't matter if it's just coming and going and toing and froing. But you're not married to it. That will not make an impression. You have to be deliberate in your thinking. You have to be continuous in your thinking. You have to be convicted about that thought. You have to be full of feeling around that thought for it to make an impression on the subconscious element of your mind. But once it does, it is going to express in your life in some way or another. It will show up in your life as some kind of an experience, good, bad, or indifferent, depending upon how you've been thinking and what you've been thinking. So it's important for you and for me to understand this once and for all at a deeper level today so that we don't muck up life for ourselves. And by not thinking consciously and not thinking affirmatively, 51% of the time. That gives you 49% to play around with. No excuses here. Now, for those of us who want to go 60%, all the better, etc., etc., etc. Now, to reach the state of at-one-ment and enlightenment, it has to be 100 out of 100%, of course. But however, I'd be happy right now just to settle for 51% to begin with. So 51% of the time will keep us in a good life, keep us in a progressive life, in a forward-moving life, in an advancing life, and make us a good kind of person to hang around with, be around, and it will help raise the consciousness of all life. So that's what we're aiming at least in our experience and in our expression. So, understanding how mind works, the conscious mind is the knower of ideas, the entertainer of ideas, the producer of ideas. And the subconscious element of mind is the actor upon ideas. So there's the knower, there's the actor. And the knower is the conscious mind. What I'm knowing, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm believing, what I'm convicted about is what the subconscious element of my mind is going to act upon, is going to move upon, is going to produce itself in my life as an experience. This all sounds very easy. When you know it, you think, oh my God, that's a great good thing to know. I'm going to start looking at that now, and I'm going to start thinking really good thoughts. Well, it sounds easy, but I can tell you it's as hard as all get up. It's as hard as all get up to turn negative thinking around into affirmative ideation. Very challenging, muy difícil, but nevertheless it's doable. It's doable. It's doable. People are doing it all the time and changing their lives for the better as a consequence of it. You see, the only way you and I will be ever in control of our lives is by first being in control of our consciousness, our minds. It's the only way we'll ever get control of our lives is to first and foremostly get control of our minds. And that's what we're here to do today, to make a commitment to taking control of our minds. Now, mind is part of a process. There is a process that's going on in life and living all of the time, and it's a triune process. It has to do with spirit, soul, and body. Guess what? That's the metaphysical trinity. Spirit, soul, and body. And guess what? It is the new thought version of the orthodox Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The Father is Spirit, the creator of all. The Alpha, the Omega, the immovable, never-changing, one and the same thing always. Spirit absolute. And then the Holy Spirit is soul. What is soul in metaphysics? Soul is the creative womb of the universe. It's the creative vessel of all that is created. And everything that is created within the soul of life and living. And the soul in orthodoxy is the Holy Spirit, or the creative feminine element of the Trinity. And even as a small child in catechism class, when I was growing up 200 years ago in Ireland, we were taught that the Holy Spirit was the feminine aspect of God. Didn't understand it then, but certainly do now. And we were taught in catechism class that the love between the Father And the Holy Spirit, the interaction between the two, produced the Son, the third person of the Blessed Trinity, the Christ, as depicted in Jesus. Well, guess what? The action between spirit, the actor, or I should say the knower, spirit, the knower, and soul, the actor, the interaction between the two produces body. And body in our Trinity is all of creation. Everything that ever was and will be created. Very same process. Different language, different terminology, but the very same process. And that's what we've got to understand, that is going on in you, in me, as it was in the beginning, in the Father, or in the Spirit, through the power of the Holy Spirit, or the impression of the soul producing the Son. And remember, the Son is everything, all of creation. And Meister Eckhart, a fabulous Catholic theologian way back when, 13th century, I believe, said, because he got it, he was really into metaphysics, he said, the eternal is eternally begetting the only begotten Son. There's not just one Son of God. There are many sons of God. All of creation is a son of God. And that's what you and I need to grasp today. That the very same creative process that the divine used to create is the very same process that you use to create. There is the only one process of creation. I contemplate upon myself as Spirit did in the beginning. I say yes to what I'm contemplating, and it is done unto me according to my contemplation. I have an idea, I think the idea, I'm convicted about the idea, I feel the idea. The idea is moved upon by the Holy Spirit, by the soul, the womb of creation, and it comes out into expression, is made flesh, comes out into expression in form. It's the only way creation occurs. And it's the very same process across the board, whether it's at an infinite level or an individualized level in you and in me. Now, when I understand that deeply and fully, my whole soul cries out to create and co-create, rather, because we don't create anything. We come into co-creation or cooperation with what already is, because we live in a complete and finished creation. And it was that in its incipiency. Nothing has ever been added to creation. It was all there in the beginning. It just had to be fleshed out as consciousness grew. As consciousness grew and we woke up more and more and more, we fleshed out all that was available to us. And all the future discoveries and so on, your future good, all of it is present right now, available to you and to me on the inside of life, the invisible side of life. Very much present, very much real, and the way we bring it into our experience is to flesh it out through consciousness, ideation, thinking, pondering, conviction, feeling, and saying, yes, this is the way it is, this is so. My good is there for me, as Emma Curtis Hopkins used to say all the time, and I'm supposed to have it. My good is there for me, and I'm supposed to have it. It's already there for me. I don't have to ask for something to be conjured up and manufactured for me, wrapped up in gift wrapping and given to me. It's already there. I unwrap the gift myself through consciousness, through my ability to have faith in the creative process of life and living, through my ability to say yes to my good, knowing it is my entitlement. Oh, there's where we have the problem. Because you see, most of us, believe it or not, think we're unworthy. Because from a very small age, we were shamed. Somehow or another, we fell into shame. Shame is a very negative, futile emotion. And shame keeps us bound and away from our good because we feel we're undeserving and unworthy. And we have been made worthy. We have all been pre-approved for all of our good. Remember, you get all those things in the mail that says, you've been pre-approved. Just apply. You've been pre-approved. I remember hearing that at a seminar once. Pre-approved, worthy, entitled. And it has nothing, thank God, to do with deservability, or we'd be all in trouble. We would be in trouble. Listen to our conversations with regard to ourselves and each other. Oh, she doesn't deserve that. Oh, he does not deserve that. Or I don't deserve that. Because that's how we are. We are truly conditioned on the negative side of life. That's why you see those little bibs for babies that says, my name is no, 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 no. For whatever reason, somehow or another, there was enough negativity around us, if not in our own families, but elsewhere when we first went to school or something, whatever that was, we sensed what it was to not be enough at a very, very early age. I can remember kindergarten. I was taken into a kindergarten class, brought into a class. I thought I was going to be there, and the teacher asked me some questions and so on. I answered them. I thought they were brilliant. But the next thing I knew, I was been taken out of that class and brought to another class and put into another class. And I didn't understand that. I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I'd answered my questions wrong. Nothing to do with that. It had to do with the numbers in the class. The teacher had enough. But see, in my mind, it was, I'm not good enough for that class. I'm not good at, and then I decided, well, I'm out of here. I was left outside the head mistress's, the Sister Anne's door for her to come back. I'm a kid, I'm small, it's my first day at school. I thought, I'm out of here. I ran to the school. I didn't know how I was going home, but I ran to those school gates and found they were locked. And I said, oh my God, I better get back to Sister Anne's door before she gets there. So I run back again. Get there just before she... See what's going on in a little kid's mind. You think you're doing wrong all the time. First of all, I shouldn't be running away, and I ran away, and then the gate was locked, and then I have to get back in time, and then my first day of school was a nightmare. But I ended up in Sister Kevin's class, and it was beautiful. I loved it. I see, it all works out. But nevertheless, that was my very first recollection of not being enough. And in my mind, that seed was sown. I am not enough. And it's subtle. And these are things that you and I have to come to terms with. Well, I've realized that now, and I thought, okay, I'll let that one go. But it took me many, many years to realize that way back then, that seed was sown. What was the first time you can remember you were shamed? Very first time you were shamed. Very first time you realized you weren't enough. The very first time you felt guilty. These are important moments because you've got to go back there and let them go. Let them go because they have a biological effect on you as well as a mental and an emotional effect upon you. When you feel shame, you feel heated. The heat comes to your body. Your face goes red at times and so on. It's a hot sensation and a hot emotion, the emotion of shame. And all your little cells are fighting to stay together, healthy and well, when you're feeling shame. You're producing negative chemicals in your body when you're feeling shame. So we need to eradicate that. Let all of that stuff go. And the reason why I'm talking about those things is because these are all things that are still running around in your mind. If you have not realized it and released them and let them go, they're still running around in your mind. And that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to do a mind roto-rooter this week. We're going to take a look at it all and have it and say, why, how am I the way I am? Why is it I get so into those feelings of not being enough, or into those feelings of guilt, or into those feelings of shame, or whatever? What is it I have to let go and release and be done with for me to feel good about myself and to see myself and honor myself the way life sees me and the way life honors me as that which is worthy, that which is blessed, that which is equipped for magnificence and greatness, because using the mind in the right way, I could take myself from any negative into its opposite affirmation, positive. I can. And using the mind in the right way, I can free the brilliance that is within me, the wisdom that is within me, the amazing creativity that is within me, the wonderful good that is within me. I can free every positive thing you could possibly think of from within myself, because it's all within myself. It doesn't matter what kind of a life I've lived until now. If I could catch myself on, cop on to the truth of my being, I could turn all of that around and be the image and likeness of the source of the truth of my being. Because my word does not return to me void. It goes out and it accomplishes that whereunto I send it. And my word is spirit and it is truth. No matter how I speak it, whether it's on the positive or whether it's on the negative side of life, my word is the truth that will show up in my life as an experience. It is not just something I've thought, and that's the end of it. My word is my power. It goes out from me to accomplish what I sent it out to accomplish, good, bad, or indifferent, and it comes back to me by an experience. I mean, when are we going to get that? And know that that's the only reason why I'm in trouble. Trouble, 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 trouble. I don't have to be in trouble. I'm just used to trouble. It's second nature to me now, like breathing out and breathing in. I'm habituated into trouble. Let's own it so that we can release it and let it go and say, no, you have no more power over me. I revoke your power. I take back my power. You may not have your way with me anymore. For I know who I am, I know what I am, and I know who's at my back. And I know that all I have to do to realize any good, whether that means I have to let go of something, attract something, express something, all I have to do is call sweet surrender. What? All of my wails and woes and anxiety and worries and troubles. And stop being intimidated by all of that negativity and allow the life that is blazing within me, absolutely pulsating within me, jazzed within me, to express itself through me. Because all good is right where I am, because right where I am, God is, and where God is, all good is, and so it is.